If you ever looked around and thought I should be further by now, this video is going to be for you. It's not that your goals are bad or that you're lazy. The problem is you have a belief you don't realize you have that's making you wait for change instead of changing things yourself. And I want to fix that with you today in this video. Now, my girl has been telling me that we've got that problem in the little pantry area in our apartment. And she's been telling me that, but I didn't take it seriously because I didn't see the gnats. I remember one day I walked into the pantry and saw the amount of gnats flying around in there. And literally, within 5 minutes, I was out to Walmart to get as many fruit fly traps possible. Because once I saw what was happening, that's what triggered me to say, oh shoot, okay, well now I need to do something, right? Now, why am I bringing up this story? I'm bringing it up because I want you to see what's happening. You don't see it right now, and you've probably watched so many videos telling you, you gotta do this, you gotta change your life, and it's up to you, and all this yada yada yada, but you don't see it yet. It's like those videos of my girl telling you that there's gnats, but you're like me, and you're like, I don't see it though, so it's like, ain't no big old deal. But I want to help you see the truth of what's going to happen years down the line if you don't change. And the best way to see the truth is to look at it. Look at buildings that aren't taken care of. What happens to them? They're abandoned, overrun by weeds, and just look horrible. Think about an apple. If you don't eat an apple, you have it sitting out there, what's gonna happen? It will spoil. And what happens to us as time passes and we get older? We die. Now, the ultimate point I'm trying to make here is that life naturally goes down, not up. If you don't take care and be intentional of a building, it will go down. If you don't go ahead and eat a piece of apple, it will go down. It will spoil. And we are just designed automatically to go down. So now that you know life is by default going down. I mean, think about gravitation, right? We are held down by gravity. The signs are all there. Life is naturally designed to go towards chaos, death, and destruction. That is the facts. I know it doesn't sound like all pretty and whatever, but that's the fact of the matter. And I want you to be aware of that, because now that you know there's a choice, now that you know what life is going to do, now you have a choice. That's what I meant to say. You can either keep letting life go down naturally, or you can do something to make life naturally, or not naturally, but you can be intentional to make life go up and keep going up. And this really clicked in my mind when I read James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. And in that, the first few chapters, he talked about the 1% rule, which states if you get better by 1% every day, you'll be 37 times better by the end of the year. So think about that. Like your money, your happiness, your friends, your skills, your confidence, whatever it is, if you get better by 1% every single day, that will be 37 times better. Imagine that. But he also said if you don't get better by 1% and you actually get worse by 1% every day, which is what we're naturally inclined to do, we get worse even though we can't see it. If we get worse by 1% every day, we will be worse than when we started by the end of the year. So where you are right now, your money, your happiness, your friends, your skills, your confidence, all the above will go down if you don't try to improve yourself by just 1%. And I remember reading that and feeling like, oh shit, I remember feeling like the world had opened up to me and I had discovered the truth, because 1% is literally nothing. And I went all in on that concept, 1%. And that led me from working a job I absolutely hated that made me want to just cry myself to sleep every night. Walmart, it was bad. Like if you work at Walmart, and you know how toxic that place is, you know you don't want to be there. Struggling to go to Walmart, living at home with my parents, not having that much money, having bad habits. Just I was all over the place. But by doing 1% and getting better every single day, I now work from home with a job that's freaking easy. The easiest job I've ever had, working from home, making the most money I've ever had. I moved out of my parents. I have a 2-bedroom apartment I can afford all by myself. I have better habits. My confidence is up. I'm doing things I want to do. And it all came to 1%. And understanding that if I don't, then life is by default going to go down. So I hope like this truth is really clicking inside of you. Like, you have no choice. I mean, I guess you do. If you want your life to be bad, then like continue doing nothing and just thinking like, oh, things are gonna get better eventually. Like, that's the belief you have, that things are just gonna get better. But it's not, unless you do 1% better every day. And that is how, and when you do that, now you're intentionally making life go up. And anybody can do 1%. So now the next question is, how? If you want to make your life go up, all you gotta do is be more intentional. That is it. Intention is everything. Because if you look around at the state of the world, most people are not moving intentionally. They're moving by default. And what is default? What is the default mode of life? It is waking up to go to your job, being on your phone whenever you can to distract yourself, coming home and watching TV, eating fast food, playing the game, going to bed, and repeating this cycle. But what happens when you're intentional? Okay, well, now you start achieving your goals. You start running marathons because you've always wanted to. You're in the gym constantly, and now you go home and you see your body's fit. You're reading book after book and feeling so good about yourself because of how much you're learning and what you're investing your time into. You're learning new skills. I'm literally learning how to juggle with like juggling pins, not balls, but juggling pins. When you are more intentional, you do more things than the average person. You feel a lot better about yourself. You spend your time a lot better. And so this is what I want to help you to do. Be more intentional. How? You want to always make a plan. That is it. This is the simplest thing. Always have a plan of action for every single day you go through. And if that's what you do, you will be living by more intention. You'll be getting better 1% every single day. And then within a year, your life will be different. 37 times better. Think about that. That is true. And that's what can happen. So to have a plan, the first thing you gotta do is know your goal. What is it you want to do? Do you want to learn a new language? Do you want to get in the gym? Do you want to make new friends? Do you want to find a partner? Do you want to move out? Do you want to make more money? Do you want to start a business? Do you want to learn an instrument? Like, what is your goal? Think about it. And I want you to know what your goal is. The next, and hopefully you are doing this along with me. Like right now, if you don't have a piece of paper out, if you're not taking notes, if you're not following along with me, why are you even watching this video? Like, you're going to waste your time. So please follow along with me. You want to build a habit of making plans every single day. And I'm going to make this really simple for you. Like, I'm not going to make anything complicated. So we already started off with saying you got to have a goal. Whatever it is, just throw it out there. Whatever goal you want to achieve. The next thing you want to do is figure out the 1 to 3 most important behaviors you can do to make the most progress on that goal. That's it. So I'm not saying you have to do a whole lot to make progress on your goal. You gotta find 3 behaviors. What are 3 things you want to do? Hold on. I hear something. Let me pause this video because I don't want to. I think they're freaking mowing. Dang. Alright, the noise is gone. Let's get back to the video. I know the last thing we were talking about were behaviors. Like I said, just pick the 1 to 3 most important behaviors for that goal to make the most progress on it. And this isn't anything hard. If you, let's say for instance, you want to get better at golf, right? Well, what are the 1 to 3 most important behaviors you can do to get better at golf? Actually, that's kind of a bad example because I know nothing about golf, but I'll just keep rolling for the sake of it to show you how easy this is. I have no clue what goes into golf, but okay, what's 1 to 3 behaviors I could take if I wanted to get better at golf? One behavior is I could go to the golf course 3 times a week for 2 minutes. And they might be wondering, like, only 2 minutes? Why only 2 minutes? Because I just want to build a habit of showing up on the golf course. Because eventually, if I make it a habit to just show up, then when I show up, it just be a consistent thing. It'll be consistent. That's the thing. Most people don't try to get into the habit of consistently showing up before trying to do the most with this new thing they want to do. I remember this, and this is a side note, but I remember my friend, she was telling me she had got some exercise bike inside her place where she was going to start working out. And I asked her, how long are we going to do a session? And she said an hour. She's going to be on the bike for an hour, 3 days out of the week. And guess what? She hasn't. She's not committed. She's not consistent with it at all. If she really wanted to be consistent with it, she would have said, I'm going to do 2 minutes for 3 days out of the week. And eventually, just getting on that bike will just be natural, be a habit. And then she'll get on and think, well, let me do an hour, let me do 30 minutes. And yeah, she might get off feeling like beat, like, oh my God, this is bad, this sucks. But the next day or like the next few days, she would get back on that bike and do it again because she built the habit of showing up. She didn't start off building a habit of trying to show up and show out. She just built the habit of showing up. So that's why I'm saying if I want to build a habit of, if I want to get better at golf, then I would want to focus on just showing up to the golf course. That's my first most important behavior. The second behavior would be to, I don't know, shoot 20, 30 balls a certain way. Like, it's just simple stuff. Like, and I'm just throwing this off the top of my head, but I'm doing this so I want you to understand it's simple. Don't make this stuff hard at all. Please don't make this hard. Now, once you got your behaviors figured out, the next thing you want to do is put it through this plan. I will do behavior at time or event in environment. And all you gotta do is follow the plan every day. You might be wondering, this seems like a lot, like, I don't know, is something really I need to do? All I can say is that no one's ever reached the top of the mountain by just not doing the small things that really matter. Like, they didn't get there all willy-nilly, they were intentional, and this is one way to be more intentional. I mean, and that's what I'm doing with YouTube. My goal is to make more money, the behavior to make more money, or at least make money online. And the behavior to do that is to have something to sell and post content marketing towards it. And so those are the only two behaviors I do. I already have my service up on my page for people to buy from. And now I just create content and put it out there and market towards that. So it's not hard to do this stuff. It's very simple. But if you start being more intentional, good things will come to you, I promise you. Most people are living on default mode, wondering why the things they are getting are just bad, because by default, you're going to get bad stuff. But if you go against the default mode, good things will come your way. So let me know in the comments what your plan will be. What is your goal? What behaviors you're going to do? Let me know. And wherever you wrote your plan, just make sure you see it daily. If you wrote it on your phone, make it your wallpaper. If you wrote it on some piece of paper, put it somewhere you'll naturally walk by it and see it, because the more times you see it, the more you're signaling to your reticular activating system that this is something that's important to you. And so then you'll naturally feel inclined to do things that's aligned with your goals. You also want to make sure that whatever you need to do, like for the behavior, is in the environment. So going back to that golf example, I would have to make sure that my golf clubs are in the environment, so that I'll be reminded, because also just seeing the things you want to do. Like if you want to read, make sure the book is in the room. If you want to draw, make sure your drawing utensils are in the room you're going to be in, because then you'll naturally be like, oh wait, let me go ahead and do that. On top of constantly seeing your goals, like you want to continue to reinforce these things, so you'll be reminded to do it. Because the biggest thing for most people is they just forget. And as far as making your plan, every night you want to do that. And I would say after you take your nightly shower or you've had dinner, you can just go ahead and figure out, how do I want my day to look like tomorrow? I'm telling you, you want to make this into a lifelong habit, planning out your day, because that is how you're ultimately going to live by intention. Now, making plans is definitely a big part of living intentional, but that is not the only thing that's going to help you stay on this path. There's other things I can't cover in this video alone, but I did make a course called Live by Design. It's the first link in my description for those who are serious about staying in this life of intention. Go check that out, because there's way more stuff in there that I just can't cover in this video. But I want to leave you with this note, that the society we're in does not want us to be good. The society we're in wants us to be controlled, because then they can profit off of us. I mean, it's as simple as that. If you look around, you'll see what society teaches us to value: entertainment, consumerism, and living like life like tomorrow doesn't exist. Instant gratification, running towards what's easy. I mean, if you just sit there and listen to people talk, you will see that these values are literally everywhere, but you do not have to be aligned with them anymore. I used to be aligned with them. I was the person who would come home off work at Walmart and immediately go in my room, have a bowl of ramen, have some weed, have my video game up, and just play and do nothing productive. I thought that was life. So it is, I'm not saying this to be like, oh, you know, you suck because you're in the society that makes us value these things. I'm just saying, I want you to open up your eyes to the fact that that's what we're in. We're like fish discovering water, except the water we're in is just polluted and murky. And now we have this chance to leave that behind. You don't have to do what our society expects of us. You can break out of those values and make your own values, because that's ultimately what will determine how your life goes. Now, if you found any value in this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, subscribe. You know all the works. If you want to see more videos, I already got some on my page, and I will see you for the next one.